Good evening, hello everybody. Welcome to my video about the Laguna Seca week. The only race I had this weekend, and it was a race Wednesday evening in European time, and actually the race did not split, so actually we were 45 cars on track, including 11 GT1s, and I qualified with an 1 minute 18.7 and Joni Hagner 1:18.4. But what this race was really about was to avoid all other cars, because 45 cars at Laguna Seca with a lap time of about 1 minute 11. That just means that there were going to be overtakings on each lap, so speed was not the main goal here. It was to avoid other cars and overtake safely. So let's see how it goes. I start in second position, and actually I almost lose second position here in the beginning because we have green flag here. But I managed to get my position back here by going on the inside. So we are off 45 minutes of racing. So far so good. I was really pleased with my qualification time when I set out to start the practice in this week. I initially just thought that I was able to do 1 minute 20 because I've really been struggling with the braking here. But as it turned out, I was actually able to go down into 1 minute 18, which is quite fast. Although not fast enough to keep up with Joni overhead. I thought that I would be able to maybe keep up with him here in the beginning when he got into the back markers of the HPD class. But I'm not really able to, even though he locks his rear tires here. The guy behind me here is Grant Robert, and he's I think he's a quite good racer as well. Also really just taking it easy. I think we all were. We didn't see that many crashes in the beginning actually, and that's very good for an official race with 45 cars. At least I've only passed 2 or 3 cars now here on lap 2, so it's actually quite good. So I'm back up just behind Joni Hagner, and he has some back marker of traffic up ahead. It could be interesting. Notice how I spotted that and immediately went wide to avoid if Joni was also going to go to the right. It's just pure protection. There we see a spinning car. I just lift off the throttle just to wait for his car to slow down in the spin itself before moving to one of the other sides. So top 3 is still very close here. Ah, something happened there. I think this car here may be just tapped Grant behind me. So it's down into first and second position here. This HPD guy, the red Shell sponsored HPD, he spun on the first lap, and when you do that and you come back and try to overtake, I'm very cautious, and yeah, I stepped aside for him. Normally wouldn't do that, but if I was going to have a decent position here, I wasn't going to take those fights, not in this race. I could go faster, I could go more on the racing line and not compromising my driving style, but I knew that this was actually the only race I had time for this week, so I just had to nail it in this first take. Adam's still going pretty strong. I'm keeping up with Joni here, although he's a bit faster each lap. Here you see him once again spun, and it's really just worst for me and the other guys here in the top 3 in the qualifying class, because we know that giving 3 or 4 laps and he'll return and have to fight back once again. We'll lose more time and we'll be taking an even larger risk, because I think he will be not that sorry, he wouldn't take as much care as we would. So just to give an update here on the Corvette class, so Joni Hacker is still in the front, followed by me. And then comes Grant Howard. Rasmus Larsen still going strong in 5th, 4th, and Gunnar Moore here in 5th. Julian De Roche behind him. Yeah. And Dick Hemdahl currently in 6th position, I think. It was good to run a race with Hemdahl here. Actually, was my first race, and he did a very fine job of stepping aside, even though you don't have to do that that much. I will find my way around you. So here is the Shell HPD once again, and he overtook me in a more safe spot on the track. Yeah, I slow down here to let this guy pass, and then he just outbraked himself. There were some not that talented drivers here, but so far I've been able to dodge them and be able to keep my car clean. And Joni is still only about 3 seconds up ahead, so I'm doing quite good here. I think that if I'm just able to keep this thing running, maybe Joni would run into some problems or traffic, and I would close up and maybe gain a position. This is such a nice corner combination, the corkscrew, where you're braking with an unbalanced car in that position, so you have to brake really early in order to stop the car. So once again, I find myself in a position where I have to give some room to a faster car, but a slower driver, and I think this is it. Yeah, it wasn't an alright take in the braking zone. Didn't lose too much time there, even though I have lost some time to Joni here. I almost braked too late there, but that's been my issue the entire week of finding the right braking spot. So here I was able to maybe squeeze by on the right side of the fort, but I figured that the gap was so big now up to Joni that it wouldn't make sense to fight for those last attempts. Instead, I would just rather be concentrating on keeping it safe. And my gap down to Grand was quite alright at this point. Been struggling a bit to hit the apex there in that right-hander, but basically it's just about turning in a bit earlier. Apart from that, I think quite pleased with my racing line and the setup here. It's about carrying just enough speed into turn 1 to make it go trail braking around and keeping the load on the front right tire. It's a hard thing to do, but once you get it right, it's very pleasing. just going to skip a bit. By the way, next time we go by the start-finish line, just take a look into the pit lane and see how many tents there are. It's crazy. Here I really just decide to try to make it before the corkscrew, because you really lose some time being stuck behind a slower car. Unfortunately, the Ford GT saw me. Just looking a bit ahead to see where Joni went, but he's about 5 to 6 seconds up ahead. And I noticed this car is blinking a lot, so I decided to let him go past me. Yeah, I remember the car doing that as well in the race. And it's purely netcode because the guy here has a large ping latency. So the software interprets his driving as the car would tilt. Nice looking Ford GT there. Well done. Now we're coming up to one of my favorite drivers to overtake, Jasper Grønnewick, I believe it is. Let me just check. Yeah, I do remember his skin on his car. But he's a very stable and quick driver, and kudos to him for always being predictable on the racetrack. I hope he kind of feels the same way. And again, I missed the apex there by 2 meters or something. Simply because I brake or turn in too late. So this could be interesting. Got traffic ahead, traffic behind me. That was actually Nick Thiessen. And some more traffic. This was just so unfortunate. The guy ahead wanted the HPD to go by on the inside, and he didn't really see that the guy was passed. And meanwhile, I actually had a HPD ramming me from behind because he was too uncautious. So what happened was that I got punted in into the back of the other Corvette driver's rear, and yeah, that resulted in a freeway crash, you could say, with the outcome that the guy in the Corvette in front of me just spun around and got his car damaged. I said sorry to him, but also that I don't think I was able to do that much about it. It's such a shame, because until now, this is lap 15. I've had a very good race, and actually a clean race so far. Good driver there as well, Sergio. Look at all those tents. It's crazy. So here's another battle with two HPDs, but they are too far behind me, so didn't want to slow down. And also up here, I knew that my acceleration was good enough to match these guys, so I stayed ahead, touching a Ford GT coming onto the track. Here I step aside, make the cars go by. I wasn't too pleased with that Ford GT. I actually waited for him to turn in, because that's the natural thing to do. Even though there is traffic, you all have to go through the same corner. But unnaturally he would brake and stayed all the way out to the right. It was his good intention, I'm sure, but it's not normal to do. It's confusing. So I really don't like those moves. You kind of have to tell the other guys that you're taking this corner and not the other guys. So here's some nice shots for you. It's really a great looking track, and I did have 3D glasses about a year ago, where I drove this this track, and with the 3D, or I guess now with the Oculus Rift, I think you're really able to see the changing levels of this track. Here you can see it sort of, but you don't really see it on a 2D monitor. But the small mountain that you drive up to is really tall. You can see it in the background there. But you don't really notice that when you go on the track, because it kind of looks flat and level. But it really isn't. Especially from here, it just goes really steep. And after this kink, it's really steep as well. All the way up here to the corkscrew, and I think somebody told me that the corkscrew actually drops about 8 meters just this bit, and then the rest here is many more meters. So this is lap 18, and we complete about 34 in total. The scoring is still with Joni overhead somewhere. Yeah, he's right there. Going through turn 3 now, and I'm coming to turn number 2. So I'm about 10 seconds behind. I locked the brakes there. I actually didn't want to overtake there, but the guy didn't turn in. I think he was afraid that I would dive bomb him, which I did, but it wasn't my intention actually. Unfortunately, my front left tire locked itself, so I wasn't able to stay behind him. So yeah, I told him I didn't intend to do that. Apart from that, I think my car still whole. It's going strong. I put down some decent lap times in traffic at 20.9 last time. It's alright, about 2 seconds slower than my call, and with traffic it's quite okay. So let's just skip just a little bit again and see if something happens either behind us or in front of us. It won't take long until I think we reach the top guys in the Ford GT class. It's funny to drive around now because I think there's still about maybe 35 cars left in the race, and I'm actually not in any traffic at the moment. So I do go into some traffic here, but it's not enough. Well, it's not that much. So that just means that somewhere else on the track it must be very, very tight, and with a lot of cars. 21.1 last time and a 21.3, so it's still in traffic where you have to give and take. I suspect that some of the HPDs were running high downforce because other cars were very quick to go by, while the number 2 guy behind me here has been stuck for about a lap or so behind me. He's really slow, and he doesn't have any visual damage, so I suspect him to have a high downforce package. Oh, what's going on here? Yeah, spinning car, or a car that lost grip. So I'm really getting into the top traffic, the HPDs at the moment, and the best thing for me is just to yield and let them have the racing line when I'm able to do it in a safe manner. And it's not time yet, it's not due yet. Maybe here? Yeah, he's kind of dive bombing me. Told him that it wasn't a smart move because he could have set it up to after the corner, just immediately after the corner, and then he would be able to overtake me. Instead, he overtakes me here in a strange way. He gets stuck behind the 4GT as well. So not a proper planned overtake move. So here's the uncertain chill guy again. Yeah, I give him room here because with his speed he would be able to dive bomb me here, but I wouldn't allow that, so I had to yield in order to stay safe. It's simply a matter of survival. But so far so good. 28 laps completed. And I'm actually still running. After 45 cars have started, I'm still running. That's not something I'm used to, because if there is going to be someone parked because of a crash due to traffic, I just feel like that's always going to be me. But not this time. I know it. And the Chevy is just running really sturdy. 21.2 last time. Still an okay time, I think. Let's check it on Yoni on my head, because this is not Yoni. He's all the way up here. So yeah, the gap is about 12 seconds, I think. Not much I can do. I'm sticking onto it. When I get a clean lap without any traffic, I will try to make the best of it and go as fast as possible. But in order to catch Joni, there was going to be something happening to his car, either a spin or a crash or incident or something. So the goal for me right now was just to make it home safe and take advantage in case that Joni would have an incident. I would really like to do a long endurance race at the Laguna Seca at one point. with 45 cars and racing of 6 hours or more, like they do in the ALMS series. Because it's a challenging track, because it's narrow and it's not a great track for overtaking opportunities, but it's just a dogma, I think. Just some exciting challenge to overcome. But that will maybe come someday, I think. Once we get the driver swaps, at least. So far so good. Lap 32, we are on, coming on to lap 33 now. This is about the third or fourth time I overtake this for GT, which is also very good looking. It's a good job there as well. So this is the second to last lap, and it's just smooth driving from here. I'm not going to take any risks because I'm not able to catch up with Joni, and I basically just have to avoid these these cars closing in on me. So last lap. And before this lap is completed, I will catch up to Jasper up ahead. But it would be a bit risky to overtake him here in the end. So I'm just staying behind him. I have secured my second position, and yeah, just give him the room to complete his lap here. Also because I've heard over the voice chat or saw on the chat that he would he got taken out by an HPD early in the race, so I wouldn't want to let him into more trouble. So yeah, I finished in second position and actually got 122 points from it. I gained about 42 iRacing spots, so I'm now well ahead of 3500, and I gained some safety rating, so it has actually stopped on 3.99. So I'm not really able to raise that anymore, but I think it's still counting in some way. So that's about it from Laguna Seca. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.